Hello everyone, welcome back to the Dollar Store Commander channel, where we make you strong commander decks at dollar store prices. My name is Nicholas, and today we're going to be doing another commander deck tech, a commander being from Foundations. We're doing one more before we move on to the next set coming up, being Innistrad Remasters. We'll get to some commanders eventually later on when the upcoming year comes. We're going to be starting off with Evereth, Viceroy of Plunder. I'm going to be going over this deck, a couple of the key cards in each category. I'm going to also give you a couple of upgrades you can make towards this deck towards the end of the video, so please make sure you stay around to find out what cards you can put in and what cards you can take out. And in the link in the description, you'll also see a link to another deck with this commander being a not so budget option if you want to check that one out as well. Before we get on to the deck tech, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and share with a friend. That's free to do and really helps out the channel a lot, and it's much appreciated. Without further ado, let's now get started. So as I said before, our commander is Evereth, Viceroy of Plunder. Evereth is a 3-drop 2/2 flying. Sacrifice another creature or artifact. Put a +1/+1 counter on Evereth. And if the sacrifice permanent was a treasure, Evereth gains lifelink until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Whenever Evereth dies, you may pay 1 and a hybrid Rakdos. When you do, Evereth deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. So we're going to go through each of the categories. The first card that we're going to be taking a look through is Tarian's Soul Cleaver. Legendary artifact for 1 mana. Equipped creature gets vigilance, and whenever another artifact or creature is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, put +1/+1 counter on equipped creature. Equip cost for 2. So it's basically doing the same thing that our commander's already doing. We're going to be sacrificing and putting a counter on her. This is just going to help double the counters, making her a lot bigger, a lot faster. The next one we have is for Drain. We have a couple of Drain effects here. The most important one out of all these is Mirkwood Bats. Mirkwood Bats is a 4-drop for 2/3 flying. Whenever you create or sacrifice a token, each opponent loses 1 life. You're going to be making a lot of tokens throughout this deck, either be treasure tokens or some creature fodder that you're going to be sacrificing it to, and you'll be able to drain your opponents out each time you do so. For our next category, we have Draws. A lot of the cards are going to be very similar where you're making a treasure token. I couldn't put them all into the ramp because it's going to make it a bit too full. And I want to make it clear of what each card you're going to be using for utility-wise. And we have a couple of cards that will just either plain draw a card or let you draw a card and make treasure tokens whenever they do. My favorite one being Seize the Spotlight. It's a very spicy card. Each opponent chooses Fame or Fortune. For each player who chooses Fame, gain control of a creature that player controls until end of turn. And tap those creatures, they gain haste until end of turn. For each player who chooses Fortune, you draw a card and create a treasure token. Either way, it's not going to be a fun option for either one of your opponents. You can either gain control of a creature that is either important to them. Sometimes it could be just a small token. They'll give it to you. It doesn't really matter. But if they don't want to give you anything that they don't want you to sacrifice, you'll almost be able to draw the card and create a token, a treasure token. So there's no way that's not going to be able to benefit you in some way. Next up is Fodders. This is where you're going to be able to make a lot of cheap buys that you can sacrifice. Whenever it comes in, they're going to do their thing, or when they leave, they're going to do their thing. The main one we're going to talk about here is Patron of the Arts. Whenever Patron of the Arts enters the battlefield or dies, create a treasure token. It's a 3-drop for a 3/1. Sushi comes in, it's going to be a treasure token. Sacrifice her to Evereth's ability, create a treasure token. That's going to be 3 sacrifice fodder you can put to your commander just for 3 mana. I want to be able to give a way to make sure this deck has a clear finisher rather than just being able to drain out each player throughout the table. So we have 1 Infect being Grafted Exoskeleton. This is an equipment for 4, 2 to equip it. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has Infect. Whenever Grafted Exoskeleton becomes unattached from a permanent, sacrifice that permanent. Next up we're going to be going to is the Protection Suite. Our commander is the linchpin of our strategy. She's our main sacrifice outlet, the main thing that we're going to be able to use to finish off the game. So we want to protect her as well as we can, either whenever she dies, make it to where she comes back, or make it to where our opponents can't interact with in the first place. The main one being Whisper Silk Cloak. Equipment artifact for 3, 2 to equip. Equipped creature can't be blocked and has Shroud. Our commander has evasion already, being flying, but in case there's a time where you're playing somebody who has a flying blocker, you want to make sure that you can get through, and with the Shroud, no one will be able to interact with it. For our removal suite, we have a couple of ways that will make a treasure token whenever you get it off, some being Blood Money, along with the spell Hell to Pay. Hell to Pay is a sorcery for X and a red. Hell to Pay deals X damage to target creature. Create a number of tapped treasure tokens equal to the amount of excess damage dealt to this creature. So you're just be paying however much mana you need to destroy a creature, and you're going to get all that mana back. We're now going to be going on to our token generator. The main one that we're going to look here is Animation Module. Animation Module is an artifact for 1. Whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are placed on a permanent you control, you may pay 1. If you do, create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token. So whenever you put a +1/+1 counter on your commander, you can pay 1, create another servo, and you can repeat this process until you run out of mana. But you'll be able to help distribute more counters on your commander, making it closer to finishing off the game, along with being able to drain with all your ping effects. Lastly, we're now going to go to our main part of this deck, which is making as much treasure tokens as we can. These are all the ones that just make treasure by themselves, along with our other ways of making treasures. The couple of main ones that you're looking for are anything that can make treasure tokens either on attack or whenever a creature you control dies. One of the main ones here is Pitiless Plunder. Whenever another creature you control dies, create a treasure token. And as I said, we have a couple of ways that make treasure tokens just on attack. We also have Diamond Pickaxe. Diamond Pickaxe, artifact, equipment for red, indestructible. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has whenever this creature attacks, create a treasure token. Equipped for 2. So the whole point of this deck, as you can see, bring out your commander, make treasure tokens, make creature fodder. That'll either make you treasure tokens, anything that you can sack off to get off to your commander, make her bigger and be able to close off the game. So now that we've gone on through the deck itself, let's go ahead and see a couple games through the playtester. So let's see. First off, our mana curve is pretty low. I think we can do with this. I think we can get off with just a 2-land hand. Keep this. Draw for the turn. We're going to play the Sulphurous Mire tapped. Go to next turn. Okay. Play the Billiard Room, playing the Shambling Ghast. Go to our next one. Draw for turn. Play the Temple. Royal Apprentice, that's pretty good. We can leave that up there. We can go ahead and play Marionette Apprentice. Get the servo. Go to our next turn. Draw. Let's see. Go ahead and play our commander. A little late with all the tap, but you expect. So we're going to go ahead and sacrifice Shambling Ghast to make a treasure. Add a +1/+1 counter. Okay, go to our next turn. Foreboding Ruins. Okay, we can then play Loyal Apprentice. So we can now go towards our combat. The Loyal Apprentice will trigger, making a colorless Thopter, not a servo. A Thopter. And we could have probably sacrificed the servo to go ahead and put more counters onto that, along with the treasure token. So that way, in case we're falling behind, we would be able to gain some of the life back. So swing in the air, getting lifelink. Go to next turn. Let's see. Got greedy for 1. There's enough land in the deck to where you shouldn't be going mana screwed, but when you keep a risky keep, you keep a risky keep. Patron of the Arts. So when it enters, make the treasure token. Sacrifice it. Get a counter. Sacrifice Christ. Make another treasure. We can sacrifice the treasure. Add a counter. Wait for someone with 5 last, if I thought. So, this time it's going to be 7. Oh, we also make the servo during the combat. So, Orthopter. So, other than the risky keep of having not enough lands in the opening hand, we still were able to come back and do something. So, pretty good. Our mana curve is pretty low, so hopefully if you'll get the lands at some point. If you're able to have a small enough amount of mana, you'll be able to come back and do something later on in the game. This deck can do pretty well early on, though. That was enough. So let's go to game 2. Okay. Let's see. So we can keep this. Draw for turn. Play the Sulphurous Mire. Tapped. Next turn. Dreadhorde Invasion. Then next turn we'll get to make the army. Mountain. Play our commander. So we can sacrifice the army. Put +1/+1 on our pass. Turn 4. Kier Keep. Oh. Gotta make the army. We can... Oh, should probably play the swamp if I had that, so that way I can do both these. It's not the deck's fault if I miss sequencing. I'm gonna play the Oni Cult Anvil and Kalane. I'm gonna make the treasure token, and we can just sacrifice the army. Put the counter first, then Oni Cult Anvil. Use the battlefield. So that's an artifact. So we can sacrifice the treasure. Might as well. That way we can make the construct. Just a 1/1 though. Okay, we're gonna swing with the commander. Turn 5. Ooh. Animation module. Play the animation module. Oh, we have the horde. Gotta remember the horde trigger. So we can sacrifice the army horde, put a counter, and we can do that enough times. So 1, 2. We'll end up with 1 servo. Yeah, 1 servo. And that'd be 3 more counters onto Evereth. So now we can just swing in for a whole 9. We'd also get another construct, just 1 time though, with the anvil. So where is the construct? There it is. Okay. So pretty decent. I even missed the land drop. I got so excited with the animation module, but pretty good. So if you want to go ahead and take this deck as is and upgrade with $50, here are the couple of cards I would go ahead and take out and put in for the deck. You can take out the Inspired Tinkering and replace it for Black Market Connections. Replace Brass's Bounty with the Reaver Cleaver. Cordial Vampire with the Blade of the Blood Chief. Replace the Dire Fleet Hoarder with Atsutsi, the Blazing Sky. Trade in Guild Artisan for Professional Facebreaker. And replace Shiny Impetus with Grim Hireling. This will now conclude our Evereth Budget EDH deck tech. For the price of this commander deck would be $76.41. That is including the price of the commander, excluding her from our total price point. And if you were to just pick up the rest of the cards for in the $99, you'd be paying about $51.58 for the remainder of the deck. The prices listed are the cheapest prices listed on TCG Player at the time of this recording, not including the shipping or the tax if you're to pick up all these cards all together. I hope y'all enjoyed this deck tech and stayed toward the end. If you did, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're new to the channel, be sure to share this video with a friend if they're looking to build this commander. And as always, thank you for your time.